Ada was a gentle soul, quiet but strong in her way. When she married Chike, everyone thought they were the perfect couple. At that time they were struggling financially, but that didn't stop them. Just months into the marriage, Chike got a job. He was able to move the family from the single-room apartment to a 2-bedroom flat. Chike seemed to be completely in love with Ada, especially for how supportive she was when things weren't as rosy. She would often pick cheap freelance gigs to support him. Life seemed beautiful, until his mother came into the picture. Ada's mother-in-law, Mama Chike, was a difficult woman. From the moment Ada moved into the new house, she was critical of everything Ada did. As time went by, more blessings hit the Chike's household through Ada, and things became better. The couple were able to send a substantial amount of money to their parents on a monthly basis. Despite the efforts, Mama Chike never seemed content, as she was always thinking Ada doesn't have the right to send so much to her family from her son's money. One day, Mama Chike came to visit the young couple, shortly after Ada gave birth to their second child. While Ada was busy attending to her baby, Mama Chike would often sit in the living room, watching her every move with sharp eyes. Ada could feel the weight of her gaze, but she tried to stay focused on caring for the baby. If Ada prepared a small and well-assorted meal for herself, Mama Chike would grumble from her seat. You're eating well, I see. If you keep spending like this, my son will send you packing. After all, you think money grows on trees." Ada would pause, the spoon hovering over her plate. She swallowed her anger, a smile forced onto her face. "Mama, Chike and I manage our money well. We're careful," she would say softly. Mama Chike always waved her hand dismissively. "Careful. I know how women like you are. Always sending money to your family, buying expensive things. You want to enjoy my son's hard work alone." Over the next few weeks, Mama Chike's cutting remarks became a regular occurrence. Whether it was about the way Ada cooked, how she spent money, or how she managed the household, nothing was ever good enough. She wasn't helping enough, and Ada still had to do the bulk of the caregiving alone. When she raised it with her husband, suggesting they get house help since her family can't join Mama in the house, the husband agreed. However, upon informing Mama, she kicked against it, saying she raised 5 children alone without a help, and she had a business alongside. That was another opportunity for her to call Ada out for being lazy, unproductive, and just seeking ways to spend money. Then, one evening, something happened that planted a seed of doubt in Ada's heart. The family was sitting together watching a movie. It was a light-hearted drama about a rich man who had many wives, all competing for his attention. The man seemed to be living in a world where women worship him. Mama Chike chuckled loudly, then turned to her son with a mischievous smile. "Chike," she began, "you're doing well for yourself, eh? You have more than enough money. You know, your father had 3 wives, and he didn't have half of what you do. You can afford more wives. After all, what is life without competition to keep things interesting?" Ada was shocked. She felt a knot tighten in her stomach, and for a moment couldn't move. It felt as if she stopped breathing that moment, but she said nothing, pretending to be engrossed in the film. Chike laughed nervously and mumbled something under his breath, but Ada noticed the way he avoided her eyes. To him it was a joke, right? But Ada expected a response that dismissed that idea, especially since she was sitting there. Later that night, Ada lay in bed, her mind swirling. Was Chike really considering another wife? Was this something his mother had been whispering in his ear for a while? She wanted to ask him to confront him, but something held her back. Maybe it was fear of the answer, or perhaps she didn't want to seem insecure. Weeks passed, and Chike's behavior began to change. He slowly became distant, staying out late without explanation. He started taking secret phone calls, hiding messages on his phone, and when Ada asked, he'd brush her off. "Work has been busy, Ada. Don't worry about it," he would say, kissing her on the forehead before disappearing again for hours. Ada's suspicions grew, but she still kept quiet, hoping things would return to normal. Her only confidant was her best friend, Titi. One afternoon, Ada met Titi for coffee, her nerves on edge. "Titi, I don't know what's happening. Chike has changed," Ada whispered, her fingers trembling as she held her cup. "He's distant. He's hiding something." Titi frowned, leaning closer. "Have you talked to him? Maybe he's just stressed from work." "I don't know," Ada said, shaking her head. "His mother keeps pushing this idea of multiple wives. It's like she wants me out of the picture." Titi reached across the table and squeezed Ada's hand. "Don't jump to conclusions, Ada. But you need to confront him. Don't let it create rooms for unhealthy assumptions." Ada nodded, but deep down she knew something wasn't right. She just didn't know how bad things would get. Eventually she tried having the conversation with her husband, but this time he got angry, accusing her of not trusting him. He asked what evidence she had that to prove his distance had to do with women. She said her instincts, and that she could feel it in her bones. The husband dismissed the conversation, with a firm warning never to raise such again. She watched him leave her to sleep off, but she eventually decided to just let it go, hoping her husband was telling the truth. When the Omugwo period was over, Mama left for the village. She felt a huge relief. Doing the chores by herself wasn't her major stressor, but the negative energy and constant complaining of Mama. Her husband also became a bit closer to her, though still nothing compared to what they were used to before Mama visited them. She always consoled herself that eventually, things will be better again. One day, while she was engrossed with responding to mails on her laptop, her baby strapped to her back, a hard knock hit the door. Ada was home alone, so she left to answer it. Standing in front of her was a young woman, clearly pregnant. Her face was familiar, but Ada couldn't place her immediately. "Hey, can I help you?" Ada asked, her voice cautious. "Good afternoon, I'm Tola," the woman said, glancing nervously at the ground. "I need to speak with you. It's about your husband." Ada's heart sank. She knew in that instant what was coming. Ada is a gentle-spirited soul. Despite her spirits already whispering all the possibilities, she still thought to make her comfortable, especially since the lady was pregnant. "Come in," Ada said, her voice suspicious. She led Tola to the living room, her mind racing. "So, what do you need to tell me?" Tola hesitated before sitting down. "I'm sorry to come like this, but I didn't know what else to do. I'm pregnant with Chike's child." Ada's heart stopped. She felt a wave of nausea, but she forced herself to remain calm. "What are you saying?" Ada asked, her voice barely a whisper. "The child I'm carrying is for Chike," she said again, this time almost rudely. Ada smiled, unsure of what to say next. "So, why are you here? I expect you two to have your meeting spot. How you met, got pregnant and all, I wasn't aware. Why do you feel the need to do this now?" An obviously breaking Ada managed to say, still trying hard to not act irrationally. "We agreed to keep this a secret. He promised he'd take care of me, but he will keep me hidden, and I was very okay with that arrangement. But since the pregnancy, I asked him to change my apartment. He said he'd move me to a duplex, but instead he's out buying new cars and spoiling himself. I came here because I can't live in the shadows anymore. Maybe why he thinks it's okay to do that is because he believes I'm a secret woman and would have to endure anything. I decided to make myself known." Tola wiped a tear from her cheek, looking around. "See where you live. I'm not even asking for something this huge. At least something befitting," she added. Ada's mouth felt frozen. For a moment she just kept staring into space. "You're not his wife," Ada said slowly, her voice trembling with controlled anger. "You can't expect the same treatment as me." Tola looked at her sadly. "We're married, Ma. I didn't want this to happen this way. But it's the truth. Ada burst into laughter. I know you're Yoruba and we are Igbo, but no Nigerian tribe would conduct a marriage without the family of the man in attendance, Ada said. Chike, he married me. In secret. It wasn't a big wedding, just a small gathering with his mother, one of his uncles, his sisters, and 2 of his friends. Ada felt like she had been punched in the stomach. Her husband had married another woman, and his family had supported it. The betrayal was overwhelming, but Ada refused to let it break her in front of this woman. Ada's mind raced. Go back to the people who were there at your wedding, she said firmly. Let them help you. I have nothing more to say to you. Tola nodded, defeated. I already spoke to your mother-in-law. She told me to come here. She said you control the house, and that's why things haven't worked out for me. Ada clenched her fists. I run my house the way I see fit. If your husband, our husband hasn't handled things properly, that's on him. And as for the new car that prompted you to make yourself known to me, I got him the car as his birthday gift. It's something he has always desired to have, and I saved hard for it. You can tell him to sell it to even build you a house, I wouldn't mind. With that, Ada told Tola to leave so that she can attend to her work before her baby wakes, or her older baby returns from school. After Tola left, Ada laid her baby on the floor and crumpled into the couch. The weight of the betrayal was crushing her, but she refused to show weakness. She couldn't confront Chike. Not yet. Not until she had a plan. When it became clear to Chike that Tola had visited to announce his hidden life, he came home that night, bearing gifts and apologies. Surprisingly, Ada seemed to be so understanding and told him not to worry, that anyone could have fallen into such. At first, Chike was uncomfortable with her laid-back approach in handling it. No confrontation, no silent treatment. Everything seemed normal, but only Ada knew nothing was normal. Over the next few months, Ada quietly took action. She bought an uncompleted duplex of modern design in another part of town. Slowly, piece by piece, she emotionally disconnected herself from Chike's life without him even noticing. She continued working from home, but she stopped contributing to the household finances. Her withdrawal from financial support seemed fair enough to Chike, as he believed it was just something anyone would do at least, since everything was still fresh. She had been the one majorly keeping their luxurious lifestyle afloat, Chike knew, yet she never made him feel less. She let him believe he was the one taking care of their family. Her view of a marriage is that whatever God blessed anyone with is for the betterment of the home. Chike got so comfortable with that he even dictates the spending sometimes, which she is very okay with. Then the financial strain hit. As the rent expiration date approached, Ada informed her husband that she would no longer support the house rent, and that they can in fact move to any apartment he can afford. So, Chike could no longer afford the house they lived in, and they were forced to move to a smaller apartment. Meanwhile, Ada's new home was ready, and one day, without a word to anyone, she left. When Chike came home that evening, he found the house empty. Ada was gone, along with their children. Panicked, he tried calling her, but she didn't answer. He called his mother, his sisters, everyone, but no one knew where she had gone. Weeks passed, and the truth slowly came to light. Ada had been the breadwinner all along, using her remote job to support the family while Chike enjoyed the luxury of her hard work. When she left, so did the money. Chike's life fell apart. He had been spending his savings on extramarital affairs, banking on his wife's money as one for the home. At first, he thought he wasn't doing badly and so can sustain himself. But as reality dawned on him that he had another wife and an unborn child, he began to realize how much Ada's remote earning in pounds had helped. He felt that if left alone with his financial capacity and a demanding wife, he would soon hit the streets to beg. He decided to be more prudent. He and Tola moved into a small room. The life of comfort he once knew and had gotten used to was gone, replaced by nagging and struggle. He lost his self-esteem, feeling less of a man. His family too began to suffer. His sisters in the university were the most hit. Everyone had adjusted to a certain lifestyle when Ada was there. Without Ada's financial support, they realized just how much they had relied on her. It was just this time Ada came to understand and appreciate her friend's discouragement when she said she wanted her and her husband to operate a joint account. Titi had discouraged it, that there was no need for it since she was already supporting the family as best as she could. Chike's mother, now desperate, went to find Ada. She begged for forgiveness, pleading with her to return. We didn't know the work you do pressing your phone and laptop was the one sponsoring the families. Even if you return and don't want to give us a dime, we don't mind. We just really regret treating you the way we did, not knowing how selfless you've been to us. Ada, please, Mama Chike said, kneeling at her feet. We were wrong. I was wrong. You've always been the one holding this family together. Please come back. For the sake of the kids. But Ada's heart had hardened. She looked at her mother-in-law with cold eyes. I gave everything to this family, she said quietly. I supported you all, even when you treated me like nothing. The secret marriage was the last straw. What have I ever done to deserve that? I'm done. Ada's voice was calm, but the pain behind her words was evident. I'll keep sending whatever I can to your family, but I'm not coming back. Before Mama Chike left, Ada gave her some money. She said she can't be so shameless to take anything from her again. You're my children's grandmother. No amount of thorns in our paths can change that fact. Sluggishly, she collected the money, thanking her for being the angel they tagged a devil. Mama, I hold nothing against you, at least. Not as much as I hold against a grown-up man who knew our reality, yet allowed you to take control. There were things you didn't know that no one knows, but he knew. So this is not excusable. Chike's mother left in tears, realizing too late the mistake she had made. How can a woman be so humble and tolerant? So, she was the financial backbone of so many people. Mama was deeply amazed and sorry, as she journeyed back to the village. Meanwhile, Chike's new marriage with Tola crumbled under the weight of financial struggles and constant fighting. The life he had taken for granted was gone, and all that was left was regret. Tola had married him for the lifestyle, unknown that his wife was the underground bankroller. She wished there was no child so she could leave, but now she feels stuck. Chike earns enough to cater for himself and his immediate family, but the responsibility of his mother and other sisters reduced what would have been manageable to a life of financial crisis. Mama Chike and her children came to dislike Tola, as she was constantly blaming them for being why her husband doesn't have enough left to cater for the home well. As for Ada, she thrived in her new life. She had found peace, far away from the people who had betrayed her, and she never looked back. How is a single mother's life? Kitty would ask. Society makes it so scary, never telling us the freedom and healthy control of one's life it comes with, she responded, and they both laughed it off. So, would you say it's better than being married? Titi asked further. No, Titi. Being married to someone who loves you, values you, and is loyally committed to the marriage is way better than being single. Nothing beats that companion. However, being single is the best option instead of patching a marriage just for kids, or remaining in a marriage where you lose yourself mentally. All these cases means you're single, just that you have a Mrs. title. I'd rather this life I live, than the one I lose myself, every day because of a grown man's decisions. Titi reached out to hug her, because she knows how much of a family-oriented person Ada is. Would you remarry? She asked. Yes, but at my convenience. And preferably to someone who is mature enough to know what he really wants in life, and would stand by it. If I don't get such a person, I will forever choose being happy by myself over being unhappy to be called married. You're an amazing human, and lines will fall in places for you at the right time. They met again this time, in a more peaceful and hearty embrace.